You can wax nostalgic. You can get waxed playing somebody in some sort of a game. You can wax on, wax off like Mr. Miyagi. Or you can wax your frames. Or do you have to? It's kind of a weird pressing question I've had. I do sometimes, I don't sometimes. I have forever bought Acorn double wax. You can see tons of wax on it. I put it in hives and sometimes I feel like it performs great. And other times I put it into hives and the bees won't touch it. And I'm kind of curious. So I don't know exactly what it is or isn't, but let's test that out. So here's what I'm gonna do. I've got two nooks that are just going kaboom down there. When I say kaboom, they are going kaboom. And I am going to put a super on each one of those with 3 frames of wax that I have double waxed. You can see I've actually put a little bit too much right there. And then this is one that is double waxed from Acorn. And you can tell the difference in what I've put on it. I'm going to put 3 of the extra waxed, 2 of just the regular without doing anything to them into both nooks. This is not scientific in any stretch of the imagination. And I'm not even sure if I'm testing it right, but let's come along for the journey. Let's see what happens. Here's how I'm going to set it up. I am going to take one nook and I'm going to checkerboard them and put them in that way and see how they react. But first, before I do that, I'm going to do something else very important, and that is mark the frames. I forgot to do that, but if I don't know which frames were the ones, and they all get waxed, so I got to go back through, make sure this is checkerboarded these, right? So every other one of these, and the blue tape will remind me of that. Well, actually, the blue tape won't. I'll have to come back to these videos and watch it. What does the blue tape mean? Nah, I'm not that gone yet. So we're gonna mark all 3 of these. I'm gonna double check and make sure these are waxed. And we're gonna put them on. And then the next nook, because the theory always is the bees work up through the middle, I am going to take the 2 unwaxed frames and I'm going to put them in the middle of the hive. And I'm gonna see if they draw in the middle, if they draw these 2, or if they draw this one and they don't draw this one. Anyway, we're gonna see what it does. So let's get these things on and get on with the day. It is a beautiful day. Okay, on we go. So this should be a pretty simple task. Isn't that usually the famous last words on these things? Well, that was supposed to be simple. That didn't happen that way. But it should be simple. I'm gonna use these 2 nooks. They are just kaboom. They were both swarms that came from my hives here in the spring. And they were 2 of the hives that I think I used a little bit of too much PPB on. PPB, well, for those of you who haven't seen it in earlier videos, piss poor beekeeping. And yes, sirree, I used it in huge doses this spring. And hence these 2 swarms. I don't know how many others probably swarmed. I only got about half of my hives split, and then the weather just turned. I didn't get the chance to do it. I'm using that as an excuse, and I'm gonna stick with that, even though it's not a good one. But we're gonna put the super on top of this one, and we're gonna see what happens. That should only take a second here, so let's make that happen. And as I said, these guys are just absolutely busting on me too. Not happy. So let's get them covered up real quick because they are mad. There you go. Man, what set them off? Something good. That hurt. Okay, so let's do the other one. What did I do with my hive tool? Oh, whew, these guys are hot. We're gonna give them a second here. That's enough time. Remember a second ago I said, hey, what could go wrong? That could go wrong. So let's do this hive real quick. Hopefully they're not as angry as these guys who are just stinging the shit out of me. So we will do quick on this. Cover bees. And I know there's a lot of collateral going on there. Sorry about that. But that's just the way it goes. Okay, I'm gonna get out of here. Something's got them cranky, but that's just the way that goes. Let's grab these and get back to the car. Whew, look at them come out. That's got the looks of something was irritating the front of that hive yesterday. Could have been me. It's going off. Okay, let's shut this down. Yeah, they're persistent. Man, they are hot, hot, hot. They've not been hot before like that. Okay. That being said, I'm not so sure I want to open that hive, but I guess we will. Well, it's 48 hours later, and I'm curious. I'm really curious to see what's going on with this. But after what I saw 2 days ago, and what you saw a few minutes ago on video, I'm not going in with a little bit of smoke. That was pretty crazy. I don't know if something lit them up, but you just never know what's gonna set a hive off. So I'm very curious to find out. I have a funny feeling that we're either going to see a lot of comb built, or we're gonna see no comb built. I don't think there's gonna be anything in between, but we'll be very curious to find out. So we're gonna light this up, get going down there. It won't take but a second, but this is our first check, so I'm kind of curious to see what we might see. As I said, this won't take a lot. Okay, I'm gonna put on the coat, we're gonna head down and we're gonna check it out. Okay, we're suited up, ready to go. Get out of there. So it'll be interesting to see. Lots of activity today. And guess what I'm gonna do? You bet. I'm opening this one first. We'll wait on that one. First things I need to do, I am gonna puff these guys a little bit of smoke. My old original smoker, 10 years old. It's got new bellows, but just keeps puffing away. Okay, put a little smoke up there. I'm gonna put this over here because it was a cheap smoker. And it gets very hot on the bottom. It'll burn through a hive cover in a heartbeat. Okay, let's see what's going on here. Look at the number of bees working up there. That's just crazy. That's just crazy. Look at the number of bees. So this will be very interesting. Let's, I'm gonna smoke them down just so I can take a peek. And I'm gonna start here in the middle. And then we'll go to this side and they'll go to this side. We'll just take a peek, see where they're at. Interesting. Man, they are calm, calm, calm. Let's see. Hope we get that in the other guys. Okay, center. Look at that. And they're actually starting to put nectar in there, if you can see that glow. Incredible. Just incredible. We're gonna set this guy to the side here, and then let's check the unwaxed. I think this is going to be the proof in the pudding, is how much they have drawn, but it's about, what, a half or a quarter of what was drawn on the other. You don't see any nectar in there. Very interesting. Well, let's go to the other side. And let's see what they're doing here. Okay, about the same. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the edge. Let's take a peek and see. I mean, because remember, what the theory was, they worked their way up through the middle. And if you look, I don't know if you can see the glimmer of their putting nectar into this already. This side is against the wall, and that's the one that they draw last, but this actually has about as much comb on it as the original. Wow. So I'm starting to truly believe that that's what happens, is that if you wax, they will build. Even if you buy pre-waxed. Now, you know, and I've always bought Acorn frames, and I've almost always bought Acorn double waxed, and these are Acorn double waxed. But again, if you put more wax on those, the bees will draw them faster. Look at that, that's 2 days. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Do I dare go in the other hive? Well, I'm feeling a bit like a daredevil, so let's put these guys back together, let them keep going at it. I'm hoping, today is Sunday, I'm hoping to come back out here next Tuesday, see where they're at. I do want to make sure that I get to these before they get it built out. It looks like they are strictly going to put nectar up there, but the flip side of it is I don't want a queen up here laying in that, because I want to take these frames and start moving them to other hives down the line that need more frames. And I'll just keep piling frames in here and filling them full of wax. So let's take a peek at this hive and see what's going on. Okay, so got my smoker. Let's, I don't think, since I'm going to be up here, theory would have it that most of the bees that are up top are wax producers and not at the stage of attack, but we're about to find out. No, perfectly calm. And here's what's interesting. Very strong hive, but they are not up here working this at all. They have cleaned it up a bit, and they're packed down below, but for whatever reason, they are not working this as much. But here's what's interesting is I can see that they've cleaned it up. So very interesting. Okay, well, I guess, I don't know if it's because of the way I've checkerboarded these that they're not coming up. It will be interesting to see. But again, we will put these guys away. They're a little feisty, but not too bad. And then we will grab our smoker and we're gonna tiptoe back to the car. So I'm glad I fired this up. Very interesting that they were not as drawn on that first hive. So then the question becomes, was it the way I had the frame set in, that with the checkerboard they jumped right up? I just don't think so. We will give them a couple more days. We'll try to figure out what's going on and hopefully see some progress on that other one. I think one thing we did figure out was that the frames we waxed the second time definitely had more wax pulled on them. So they are drawing them much, much quicker. Again, another 48 hours I think is going to tell the difference of where that's really at, if they're drawing them that fast. And we'll see what happens. Okie dokie, it's now 4 days since we put these in, and I'll be very curious to see what we've got. And I didn't bring smoke. Hopefully these guys are not angry. They are packed though. Whoa. I'm gonna start in the middle, and we're gonna pull these guys out and we're gonna take a peek and see what it looks like. And I have a sneaking suspicion that these guys are not happy. We got a storm coming in, so I think they sense that as well. Looky there. So we're not only drawn completely out, we are filled with honey. I will just set you down here. If we look here, I think we'll see that the unwaxed actually did fairly well. It's about maybe half of the wax. So waxes definitely makes a huge difference on this. So I think it's worth it. If you really want to make things happen fast, do wax. I think more impressive than anything is the fact that this is just 4 days work. That's just 4 days work. Pretty darn impressive. We're gonna cover them back up because it is warm and they're feisty, and I'm not gonna mess with them too much. I'm just gonna peek at this hive because when I was setting up that camera that you're seeing me in, they were already pinging me and not happy. So I'm just gonna take a peek and see if they become ballistic. If they don't, we'll see what they've got going right now. Yeah, see, not as many bees up here in this hive. Let's see what they're doing with the wax though. Yeah, they're pouring out. I got that about half drawn, so. Okay, well, they're lighting up my hands, so we're gonna let that go. So, there you have it. we're gonna head back to the car. We're gonna let these bees calm down. Got them feisty, don't we? Anyway, let's get back up to the truck and let them calm down. We'll wrap this up. Well, that I guess shows you how much and how important it is to actually add extra wax, even if they say it's wax. And you know, I think Acorn does a good job on those double wax. You see a lot of wax on them. It may even have something to do with the fact that you're using wax from your own bees. I don't know. I really don't know. It's way beyond the scientific I want to be going through right now. But I do want to tell you, I am just, I'm sold on the fact that if you're going to put new frames in, put wax on them. There you go. I've got some hives at home. I checked yesterday, and I put extra waxed frames in those hives about 3 weeks ago, and most of the bees haven't even touched them. So I'll be pulling those out, putting others in. But there you have it. Hey, as always, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't, please subscribe. Like buttons are great too. And as I always say, and I really truly mean it, happy beekeeping. See you next time. Thanks.